Would you rather own
Staples
tech,
or
i.e.,
technology?
Microsoft,
Yes.
Apple, the semiconductors, software companies, or would you
The
rather own
companies that are sitting on a
food?
boatload of cash.
So we're talking food or Apple, right? Okay.
Basically.
Mark, thoughts?
So I got to hold it for 6 months. Can I cash flow?
Of course.
Yeah, of
Duh.
course. You can do whatever you want.
Tech.
You just have to hold staples or tech, meaning the sector ETF. You can do whatever system you want. You cash flow,
Tech.
covered calls, naked puts, boomerang, whatever you want.
Tech, and I smash aggressive cover calls. I think, is there downside potential in tech? Yeah, of course there is, right? Because markets don't go up every day. Everything can have its moment, especially if the market spins. I don't know how much upside there is like in that, but I feel comfortable aggressively cash flowing tech. So and I'm going to get much bigger cash flow returns on tech than Staples. Like if someone answered Staples, I'd be like, you're not going to get hurt that bad, right? You're not going to get hurt that bad in this environment unless everything else is just starts turning awesome, and then Staples is going to have a real day of reckoning when things turn awesome again. But that's probably not happening next month. It's probably not happening for the next 6 months. Either things are going to turn bad, in my opinion, or they're going to be still debating the same debate we've been having for 15 months. Is recession coming? It's not, right? Either one's a good backdrop for Staples. You're not going to get hurt in Staples. I just think tech holds up relatively well. So I'll take tech and I'll smash some covered calls against it to maximize that cash flow.
I love the question because one is very defensive, right?
And proven and tested, right?
Very defensive. Staples, food-based companies, all that,
Yep.
right? The needs of the world, right? Regardless of economic conversation, we're putting Kroger's food on our table because it's cheap food, right? We're going to go to the grocery store.
We gotta eat.
We got to eat, right? Tech is the ultimate growth area of the market. It also has, over the last 3 years or so, evolved to some degree of safety against the aggressive areas of the market of comms and discretionary. So there's a safety bid there it gets with the Apple and the Microsoft conversation. We sometimes lump it into tech, but it's an Apple and Microsoft conversation is what it is.
Mhm.
I think the 6 months is tough because 6 months takes into account basically 3 months of will they not pause, and 3 months of, well, looking back, they absolutely did pause. And so there is that environment to speak of. When you're looking at it so those are more like thematic conversations. When you're looking at it from a pure valuation perspective, I think people are very used to tech being overvalued. It currently has a PE ratio of 31, forward PE ratio around 26. Its Schiller PE ratio is one of the highest out there as well. When you're looking at consumer staples, I doubt anybody here is going to make an argument that consumer staples is undervalued. It's in the top 4 sectors of overvalued. Tech's there as well. So from a valuation perspective, I don't think you can make an argument on one versus the other right now, which would typically favor the tech space. So ultimately, the question is, it comes down to what you're really investing in: Apple, Microsoft, semiconductors versus Walmart, Coca-Cola, and food-based companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're both fairly close for me. They're the 2 highest ranked sectors that tackle trading for a reason. But I think with the types of systems, if there was no system attached here, like you couldn't cash flow, I would probably say Staples.
Yeah, I would if I couldn't cash flow, I would say Staples as well.
If with the ability to write covered calls and naked puts, credit spreads, the tech space is really good for that type of stuff. And so I would take tech because of that. But my answer would be Staples if it's naked. With systems, I would say tech.
appreciate that response. It's kind of like where my headspace was at. But again, I haven't been in this environment where, you know, when the recession talk is being discussed. You guys obviously are pros. You've been through, you know, 08
It's
and all that
different this
stuff.
time around.
Yeah.
It is different this time around. There's more conversations in this part of it than there were last time. There's more eyes on the conversations. There's more awareness of what is happening versus last time. And I think that's the number one difference for me is this is a conversation happening with everybody around America right now versus at this stage last time in 08. Nobody had a clue what was brewing underneath the surface. Only the traders and the fundamental investors out there and the people that are central bank hawks that like there was like this little area of the market participants that we were kind of let's put into our corner a little bit. Nah, this conversation is happening across broad spectrums of the marketplace. The awareness of the economic environment, the political environment. There's just so much more awareness of what is occurring right now than what usually occurred. In fact, back in 08, like when I was a young trader, I was taught once mom and pa America, you know, gets scared, it's time to buy. And that's not the case any longer because mom and pa America, they're fully aware of what is going on out there. Maybe not to the same level as the people that hang out in the halftime report with us daily or the people that geek out on the market on a constant basis. Obviously not that's not what I'm suggesting, but just from a pure awareness perspective, they're far more aware of what is going on. When SVB came out, everybody in the world was aware of that. Everybody in the world was concerned about that. Those situations were occurring all the time in 08. And nobody, it was like, if a tree fell in the forest, did everybody know? Like there was no awareness. And so just with the amount of eyes and awareness, it is a unique, there is a uniqueness to it. And we can talk about social media perhaps being the causation of that. We can talk about just technology expanding and we're all just, you know, the world's at our fingertips now. That's not my read on that. I think the pandemic changed things for people. I think the speed of what occurred during the pandemic, it brought an awareness to the market that other cycles just didn't have. So obviously the speed of information through social media, the pandemic, whatever the case might be, there's just a tremendous amount of more awareness on these big picture conversations on a daily basis than there was in 08.